Tony's probably familiar to many of you, but seems as if he seemed to have been born with cowboy poetry in his blood, or he was transfused with it since he was about age 5, I understand, when he started listening to his grandfather. Tony seems to call his style of reciting, as he says, as tuned up and twisted. So let's give a big Genoa Cowboy Festival welcome to Tony, our Tornado Tony, so he can pick up our Western spirits. Here we go, Tony.
Thank you, folks. Want to dance? How are we all doing today? Let's hear it. All right. Everybody's happy here at the number 6 Genoa Cowboy Festival? I'm sorry, couldn't hear you. Everybody's happy at the number 6? All right. How many of you here have not heard cowboy poetry? And how many of you have? Good, that's everybody. I like that. Now, you know what, I'm just going to start right off the cuff here. How many Marty Robbins fans do we have? Everybody, good. Marty recorded this come out on Return of the Gunfighter LP, September 16th, 1963. The song charted at number 6 and the album charted at 16. There are 3 people that I'm aware of that were named after David Martin Robinson, which is Marty Robbins. There's Marty Stewart, Marty Rowe, who is the lead singer from Diamond Rio, and Marty Haggard, Merle Haggard's son. This one is a rodeo verse, and it's called Old Red, and here it is. Old Red was one of the orneriest yet I seen at the big rodeo. He'd bite you and kick you and he'd bump out your load. Let me get another drink here. I'm going to start over here. I want to make sure Old Red gets his glory. Old Red was one of the orneriest yet I seen at the big rodeo. He'd bite you and kick you and he'd stomp out your life. Old Red had never been rode. Meaner than sin and wild as the wind that blew on the Montana plains. Old Red was one of the last of his breed. And he wasn't about to be tamed. From Idaho, a young cowboy came to riding a big rodeo. Well, this young cowboy's name was Billy McLean, and Billy had never been thrilled. The greatest desire filled the young Billy's heart to ride this old outlaw called Red. Well, he drew him one day, and I heard Billy say, "I'll ride him or drop over dead." Old Red was wicked down there in the chute. He was kicking and stomping about. But Billy climbed into the saddle with ease and yelled, "Let him loose! Turn us out!" Old Red came out with his head on the ground, and his toes were touching his toes, trying to throw the man's back. But the man went wherever he goes. Billy was raking Old Red with his spurs from his tail to the tip of his chin. He was doing right well, but Billy could tell this outlaw would never give in. Old Red was running straight for the fence. He suddenly stopped in, and then he reared on his hind legs and fell on his back, taking poor Billy with him. Well, there was a hush in the crowd, and they knew right there that this would be Billy's last ride. The saddle horn crushed Billy's chest when they fell, and under Old Red, Billy died. Old Red lay still. No more would he move. The cowboys that had seen it could tell. In trying to throw Billy off of his back, Old Red broke his neck when he fell. Out in the west is the place where they rest, this cowboy that never was throwed. And 1 foot away, resting there beneath the clay, is the outlaw that never was rode. Mr. Marty Robbins, thank you. Cop pulls over Redneck, says, "Got any ID?" Redneck looks up at him and says, "About what?" Yeah, you folks laugh. That's a true story. Now, this fellow was born in Pennsylvania in 1878. Died in 1950, and he was a real cowboy. But he found that being a cowboy wasn't all it was meant to be as far as the money not being there, and it took its toll on the body. So most of the verses that he wrote, I think there's probably about 1,200, he wrote going up and down an elevator as a bellhop in the Bel Air Hotel. This one's called When They Finish Shipping Cattle in the Fall. It's got a real good sentiment of the cowboy to it. Though you're not exactly blue, yet you don't feel like you do. The winters are the long, hot summer days. Though your feelings and the weather seem to sort of go together. You're quiet in a dreamy autumn haze. Last big steer is goaded, up the chute and safely loaded. When the summer crew has ceased to hit the ball. When a feller starts the dragon to the home ranch with the wagon. When they finish shipping cattle in the fall. Just 2 men left to standing, the job for winter branding. Your partner is loafing by your side with a brand new saddle creaking, but you never hear him speaking. And you feel it's going to be a quiet ride. But you savvy one another, for you know him like a brother. And he's friendly, but he's quiet, that is all. For he's thinking while he's dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. The saddle horse is stringing at an easy walk a swinging. And behind the old chuck wagon, moving slow. And they're weary, gaunt and jaded. The mud and brush they waded. And they settled down to business long ago. Not a hoss is feeling sporty. Not a hoss is acting snorty. In the spring, the brutes is full of buck and ball. But they're gentle when they're dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And the cook leads a retreat, perched high upon his cattle seat, with his hat pulled way down, furrowed on his head. Used to make that old team hustle. Now he hardly moves a muscle. And the feller might imagine he was dead. Except his old cob pipe is smoking as it lets his team go poking, hitting all the humps and hollers in the road. Nope, the cook has not been drinking. He's just sitting there thinking about the places and people that he knows. You watch a dust a-trailing and 2 little clouds are sailing, and a big mirage like lakes in timber tall. When a feller starts to dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. You make the camp that night, oh, the fire's burning bright, yet nobody seems to have a lot to say. In the spring, they sung and hollered. Now you get your supper swallowed. Then you crawl into your blankets right away. You watch your stars are shining there in the soft blue lining. You sniff the frosty night air clear and cool. You can hear the night hawk shifting as your memory starts to drifting. In a little town where you used to go to school. It's the narrow gravel streets and the kids you used to meet. The field where you used to play baseball. Now you're far away and dragging the home wrench when the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. Your schoolboy sweetheart too, with her eyes a honest blue, best performer in the old home talent show. You were nothing but a kid, but yeah, you liked her. Sure you did. And the Lord, well, that was over 30 years ago. Then your memory starts to roam from, well, Mexico to Nome, from the Rio Grande to the Powder River. Of all the things you've seen or done, some of them was lots of fun, and lots of other things, they make you shiver. About that boy by the name of Reed that got killed in a stampede. It was way up north. You helped him dig his grave. Your old friend Jim the Boss that got tangled with the hoss, and the fellers, they couldn't reach in time to save. You were there when Ed got his one. Boy that killed him? Yep, he's still in prison. Oh, lucky George. God, he's rich and living high. Poor old Tom, he come off worst. Got his leg broke. Died of thirst. God, that must be an awful way to die. Then the winters at the ranches and the old-time country dances, everybody there was sociable and gay. Used to lead them to the middle, used to prance them to the fiddle. Never thought of going home till break of day. Nope, there ain't no time for sleeping. The memories, they come a-creeping. And sometimes you think you hear the fellers call. When a feller starts to dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. Mr. Bruce Kiskaddon. Thank you, folks. All right, you happy? You still like me? Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to liven this one up here. I call this Dear Junior, and this is a hillbilly mother writing to a hillbilly son. Dear Junior, I am writing this hill letter slow, as I know you cannot read fast. We don't live where we did when you left. As your pa read, but most accidents happen within 20 miles of the home. So we moved. I can't give you a new address, as the last family that lived here took the numbers with them for their next house, so you wouldn't have to change their address. Say, this here place has one of them newfangled washing machine thingies. Yeah. Why? The first day, I put 4 shirts in it, pulled the chain, and I haven't seen them since. It only rained here 2 times this week, 3 days the first time and 4 days the second time. Oh, and about that coat you wanted me to send to you. Your Aunt Sue Ann said it'd be a little too heavy to send in the mail with all them big heavy buttons on them. So we cut them off and put them in the pockets. Oh, and about your sister Betty Sue, she had a baby this morning. So, don't know if it's a boy or girl, so we don't know if you want to have an uncle. And speaking of uncles, the Uncle Clem fell in the whiskey vat at the distillery last week, and, well, some of his friends tried to pull him out, but he fought them off playfully. So he drowned. We cremated and he gone for 3 days. Got a letter from the funeral home the other day. Said if we didn't make the last payment on Granny's funeral bill, up she comes. Oh, and for your birthday, your Aunt Jess Pearl went and done knitted a nice pair of colorful woolen socks, beautiful prunes and fruitcakes embroidered on the sides. But after she'd sent it off to you, later there at the post office said she'd reckoned you'd grown another foot since she'd seen you last. Now your aunt's fixing to knit you another one. Should be getting it sometime in the mail next week. These are all true. Yesterday's putting 105 in the shade, according to the thermometer, sitting in the sun. Now, I don't know if that's regular or Celsius, but your brother Holland done went and locked his keys in the ignition of the old Nash Ramble station wagon. And to say the least, your pa and I was getting mighty bit nervous and somewhat worried. But after about 2 hours, he finally found a rock big enough to break out a side window and got us out of there. Ooh-wee. That was a close one. Oh, and by the way, 3 of your friends went off the old bridge in a pickup truck. One was driving, the other 2 were in back. Driver, he got out okay. He was able to roll the window down and swim to safety. The other 2 drowned. Apparently they couldn't get the tailgate open. Well, not much more news this time. Nothing much happened. Love them all. P.S. We're going to send you some money, but the envelope was already sealed. Thank you. All right, this one here I'm going to give you is by Bruce Cascadi. He came out with this in 1947, and it's called Judgment Day. I really like doing this. I hope you like it. Once I dreamt while I was sleeping that the earth had passed away and the boss of all creation made a work on Judgment Day. There was folks of every color. There was folks of every breed. And they cut them into bunches according to their race and to their creed. Top-end angels done the cutting. They knowed how to handle things. Some would change and help the others while they'd smoke. And rest their wings. Then I seen a bunch of fellers, they was holding on the side, grazing sort of loose and easy, and the angels working wide. He had judged and classed the others by a book of rules he used. Then he calls out to the angels, "Now bring on the buckaroos." Angels bunched and shouting forward. Well, some boys were surprised, but not dismayed. Ambling up to face the judgment came that grizzled, wild brigade. Some was young and some was older. Some walked with a limping stride. Some still had the high-heeled boots on that they was wearing when they died. And they all stood in line to answer for the ways they'd spent their days. And they faced the boss of heaven with a cool and level gaze. And the boss of all creation, he gave them boys a careful look. Then says to a top-hand angel, "Now bring me out that range law book." Well, I turned and asked an angel why that judgment book was changed, and why they judged that bunch of cowboys by the laws that ruled the range. And he answered very solemn, and that the reason was because you can't never judge a cowboy by another fella's laws. Mr. Bruce Cascadi. Thank you, folks. I'm going to close with this one right here. Everybody still having a good time? Good. I'm glad to hear it. I want to make a comment right here in front of everyone. I'm very humbled to be here. This is a premier event. The committee for the Genoa Cowboy Festival, all the volunteers, Phil Rutger, the town manager, the sponsors, and all the entertainers, the friendly atmosphere and the affordability of this event with the historic aesthetics and the beauty drop of the mountains and the architecture make this a #1 event. And I'm very proud of you for it. Let's hear it for them. Thank you. Do we have Ernest Tubbs fans in the audience? Good. How about Jimmy Rogers fans? Okay. Ernest, on loan from Jimmy's wife, his widow, played his guitar for 4 decades. That guitar is considered the most expensive guitar, valued at over $1 million. It's a Martin. There was a fan that wrote a letter to Ernest Tubb about what happened to him during World War II, the Forgotten War. And this is it. It's called Missing in Action. So he put this to words. And when I do patriotic verse, I always take my hat off out of respect for our American flag, those men and women who served, and those men and women who gave that ultimate sacrifice. The warships had landed, and I came ashore. The fighting was over for me of the war. For I'd been wounded. They left me for dead. A stone for my pillow, the snow for my bed. But the enemy found me and they took me away. Made me a prisoner of war, so they say. But God in His mercy was with me one day. The gate was left open and I ran away. I returned to the old home, my sweet wife to see, the home that I built for my darling and me. The door was left open and there on a stand I saw a framed picture of both her and a man. And the picture I saw told me a sad tale. My darling was wearing a new bridal veil. Then I found a letter, and these words I read: missing in action. She thought he was dead. So I kissed her sweet picture and I whispered goodbye. My poor heart was breaking, but my eyes, they were dry. I know she'd be happy if she never learned. I know she must never know that I'd returned. A vagabond dreamer, forever I'll roam, because there was no one there to welcome me home. The face of my darling, no more will I see, for missing in action, forever I'll be. Mr. Ernest Tubb. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. You're going to enjoy a great duo here. This fellow's name, I'm not going to do the introduction, but I want to talk about him because I really like him and they've got a great talent. Our Nevada balladeer, Mr. Richard Elloyan, and his sidekick, Mr. Steve Wade. They're going to delight you with their talents that is unmatched, believe me. Thank you kindly. Thank you.
And now, Tony's already kind of set the stage here, but I am happy to be able to introduce Richard Elloyan, Virginia City's own local boy, reaches into our Nevada soul and spirit with his beautiful lyrics and music. I am personally pleased to have enjoyed several local performances with Richard and Steve at Piper's Opera House, also Bowers Mansion, a wonderful historic site as well for performances. Partner Steve Wade appears to be a guy that wears many hats. He's a wrangler, he's a bronc rider, he's a farrier, a horse trainer, and a fine finish carpenter, I understand. And obviously a sidekick to Richard. And a good buddy, I understand, as well. So let's have a big warm welcome to Mr. Richard Elloyan and his sidekick, Steve Wade. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Give him a big welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, 1, 2. 1, 2, test, test, test. Stay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming out. Like you said, my name is Richard Elloyan. The gentleman to my right is Mr. Steve Wade. He's an extremely good guitar player, as you'll find out for yourself. I like to think I'm a good songwriter, so together we make one good entertainer. So we're going to start off with a song, Nothing is Easy Anymore. Nothing. And this is a song called Cowboy Complicated. He's a complicated cowboy. He lives a complicated life. He has one new and one old pair of boots, one trusty pocket knife. And he hates breaking in another hat, likes his jeans all worn and faded. And he's proud to defend his fashion sense. It's cowboy complicated. He knows every post, every pair on every stretch of fence. same truck for 15 years and he's fond of every dent. He has most of what he wanted. He'd be the happiest man alive. If the gate would open by itself, he could teach his dog to drive. He's got 100 things to do today. He'll get to everyone, and no one tells him where to start. He stops when he gets done. He doesn't analyze, prioritize, call a meeting to evaluate it. No, he just does what must get done. It's cowboy complicated. He's deep in debt. You can bet that he don't mind at all. It's a debt of gratitude for a neighbor's help way back in the fall. And when it comes his time, the paying kind of good hand is appreciated. If it's a two-man task, you don't have to ask. It's cowboy complicated. He's got 100 things to do today. He'll get to everyone, and no one tells him where to start. He stops when he gets done. He doesn't analyze, prioritize, call a meeting to evaluate it. No, he just does what must get done. It's cowboy complicated. He just does what must get done. A little hard to comprehend for some. You can't explain it. Simply stated, cowboy complicated. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, can I have just a little bit more of Steve's guitar in monitor so I can hear him, please? Oh, there you go. That's better. Thank you so much. So, I've been a songwriter for as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. I didn't learn to play guitar or anything until I got out of high school, so I wasn't much of a songwriter. But anyway, of all the songs, Western songs that I've heard, this is my very favorite Western song. Other people will tell you that El Paso is the cowboy national anthem, but to me this song says it all. I wish that I would have written this song, and this is called Dear Mama, I'm a Cowboy. And Steve and I have a brand new CD, our first CD that we've done together, and this is a song by Red Steagle, and it is on the new CD. If you want to buy one of those CDs, go ahead, we'll wait. This is called Dear Mama, I'm a Cowboy. There's nothing left but ashes. The fire is gone for good. I'm trapped here in this cabin, too cold to go for wood. So I thought I'd write a letter and let you know that I'm okay, though my leg still hurts a little from a bad spill yesterday. Dear Mama, I'm a cowboy, and I know that breaks your heart, and all the things they wrote about me must have torn your world apart. So Mama, please forgive me, though I drove you near insane. I never killed nobody, I never robbed that train. We found him in the springtime at the table where he died. His tears had stained the paper where he bowed his head and cried. We all just cried like babies as we read it one by one, and thought of our own mamas and all the things we'd left undone. So we rolled him in his blanket, and as the boys all gathered round, I read his letter one last time. We laid him in the ground. Dear Mama, I'm a cowboy, and I know that breaks your heart. And all the things they wrote about me must have torn your world apart. So Mama, please forgive me, though I drove you near insane. I never killed nobody, I never robbed that train. Dear Mama, I'm a cowboy, and I know that breaks your heart. And all the things they wrote about me must have torn your world apart. So Mama, please forgive me, though I drove you near insane. I never killed nobody, I never robbed that train. I never killed nobody, I never robbed that train. Thank you. Thank you so much. New strings always are a lot of work. So, how many of you have been east on Highway 50, the loneliest road in America? All right. So if you went through Eureka, you passed by the Eureka Opera House. It's one of my favorite places to play. And I enjoy playing there so much that I thought that I should honor the facility. And this is a song that I wrote a while back. And actually they played this song on NPR when they broadcast the one of the Democratic primaries from the middle of nowhere, which was Eureka at the time. And they asked me to come and play this on NPR during the interview. It was quite interesting. This is called Eureka Saturday Night. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an hour and a half, a washboard road to a dance on Saturday night. Mom and Dad in bed and the cows are fed and the moon's big and bright. Polish on her boots, a showgirl smile, a hint of French perfume. And every cowboy stops to catch his breath when Ruby walks in the room. Oh, Ruby's got a thing, a Texas swing, Bob Wilson asleep at the wheel. And if you don't want to dance, you don't have a chance against fiddle and a pedal steel. She's a darn good hand with a heart of gold, she could hold her own all right. She'll be the last one out there dancing when they finally turn out the lights. Saturday night, the lights are bright in old Eureka. and the opera house is full of buckaroos and senoritas. There's a line of dusty pickup trucks from ranches all day around. All things heat up on Main Street when the sun goes down. There's a bit of blue sky in a cowboy's eyes, and he's light as a feather on his feet. Pardon me, ma'am, would you like to dance? And sparks fly when he speaks. And it's around and around, and they don't sit down when the band finally packs it up. They just go on dancing, lost in a brand new love. Saturday night, the lights are bright in old Eureka, and the opera house is full of buckaroos and senoritas. And there's a line of dusty pickup trucks from ranches all day around. All things heat up on Main Street when the sun goes down. It's an hour and a half, a washboard road back home on Sunday morning. Ruby's got a smile from ear to ear. There's a dust cloud 2 miles long. She looks forward to the work to do. She's tired, but that's okay. She's gonna be alright. Saturday night is only a weekend away. Saturday night, the lights are bright in old Eureka, and the opera house is full of buckaroos and senoritas. And there's a line of dusty pickup trucks from ranches all day around. All things heat up on Main Street when the sun goes down. All things heat up on Main Street when the sun goes down. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys doing okay? You know, Genoa has to be the luckiest town in all Nevada. Look at the weather they have here on May 1st. I've had snow in my garden on June 1st. So we have a brand new song to play for you this evening. And I can't imagine that this song is not representative of what happened now and then in the Old West. And of note of this song is this song was really difficult to write for one reason. It's written backwards. I don't sing it backwards, but all the events in this song happen in reverse order. So this is a song called Blood and Gunsmoke. I was there on the day he disappeared. He said goodbye to the boys and was gone. And his eyes were as cold as a January night, and the fire had gone out in his soul. His condition was such, we knew that he would not last for long. I helped him to his horse, and he pulled himself up straight. Weak though he was, he did not waver. And a crowd had gathered around, but not a whisper did they speak, for they knew that his wounds could not be graver. And every moment that passed, every breath he took would surely be his last. Inside the corner bar, one man still remained, his body stretched across the faro table. The dealer lay face down with a blackjack in his hands. and the winning card's no longer in his favor. Oh, you may have the touch, but sleight of hand don't always beat good luck. And you don't bet your life if you can't afford to lose, 'cause there's too many cards between the aces and the deuce. You're living like there's time to kill, 'cause you don't get the joke. But you can be here today, then blown away, and you leave behind just blood and gun smoke. One bullet pierced the heart, one bullet split the bone, one moment and two lives forever shattered. I made an honest bet, and I expect an honest deal, and I will die, and I will die because it mattered. Oh, I didn't know him well, but I pray the devil don't cheat at cards in hell. Two shots rang out as one, a single loud report that scattered playing cards and patrons like the wind. And a witness would recall how that conversation went. You'll never live long enough to cheat at cards again. No advantage will be gained when equal forces meet at point blank range. And you don't bet your life if you can't afford to lose, 'cause there's too many cards between the aces and the deuce. You're living like there's time to kill, 'cause you don't get the show. But you can be here today, then blown away, and you leave behind just blood and gun smoke. When we all rode into town, searching only for the pleasures you could buy. Some rode straight to Madame Rosa's, and others chose to drink, and some thought they would give their luck a try. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see here. Well, I'm actually a little bit disappointed that the weather is this nice. We have a song that I wrote just particularly for when it's cold, and which is most of the time, especially if you live in Ely. Ely is the nation's icebox. But this is a song that I always wanted to write a drinking song. So we're sitting on the porch one night, and one of our friends came up with the line that this was whiskey weather. So I thought that was a pretty good idea for a song. So this is called Whiskey Weather. Set me up, bartender, I need to shake this cold. I rode in on frozen bones with icicles on my soul. I could use a decent meal, but drinking might serve me better. So I'm steering clear of the beer today, 'cause this is whiskey weather. And I feel just like an iceberg out floating on the sea. And I won't melt until they pour some 90 proof over me. I'm wearing stitch I own, my hat, my coat, my sweater. Oh, barkeep, please, a little antifreeze, 'cause this is whiskey weather. Nobody wants to go to hell. If given the choice, we'd probably skip it. But when it's 10 below and you're knee deep in snow, you might be up for a visit. Oh, no kerosene, no gasoline, that stuff is just too tame. You want to fire this boiler up, it takes pure Kentucky flame. And if Mother Nature needs to prove a point, I guess you're gonna have to let her. So it's down the hatch with some liquid match, 'cause this is whiskey weather. Go to hell. And if given the choice, we'd probably skip it. But when it's 10 below and you're knee deep in snow, you might be up for a visit. Oh, set me up, I need to shake this cold. I rode in on frozen bones with icicles on my soul. I could use a decent meal, but drinking might serve me better. So I'm steering clear of the beer today, 'cause this is whiskey weather. I'm the barstool king and I'm here till spring, because this is whiskey weather. Thank you so much. Mr. Steve Wade on the guitar. Thank you very much. Thank you. He's a pretty good all right. So it was a couple of years ago that I was playing here, and I ran into some friends of mine out by the square out there, and I went up to one of the friends and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he said, "Well, he was on this side of the dirt." Well, I thought that was a pretty good idea for a song. So I've heard variations of that thing, like I'm still buying green bananas. Nobody's patting me in the face with a shovel. I'm not looking up at the grass. But none of those quite worked into a song as well as this side of the dirt. So this is actually a title from the CD, a couple CDs ago. And I have to think there's no place better to be than this side of the dirt. Great. I ran into this old buckaroo out riding along the range. He didn't have a care in the world or a dollar to his name. I inquired as to his welfare, he thought about that some. Then he looked at me and said, Let me tell you, son, I'll never be perfect. I could be worse. 'Cause I could be pushing up daisies or riding in a long black hearse. I'm keeping busy doing the good Lord's work, and I won't complain while I remain on this side of the dirt, on this side of the dirt. I know a kid from Colorado, and just about a year ago, he cheated death when he had a wreck at a local rodeo. When he broke his back and he broke his leg, and he's had a tough time since. But I know what he'd tell you if you asked him how he is. I'll never be perfect, I could be worse. I could be pushing up daisies or riding a long black hearse. Well, I'm keeping busy doing the good Lord's work, and I won't complain while I remain this side of the dirt, on this side of the dirt. Some things you hear just roll on by, some you take to heart. But a tumbleweed that fights the wind just gets blown apart. Down a country road, there's a little house on a quarter-acre lot. And that little house is all that's left of everything they bought. Well, they fought the bank and they fought the weather till finally they gave in. But if you retreat and you regroup, you can rebuild again. It'll never be perfect, it could be worse. You could be pushing up daisies or riding in a long black hearse. But you gotta keep busy doing the good Lord's work, and don't complain while you remain this side of the dirt, on this side of the dirt. I won't complain while I remain on this side of the dirt. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think I have time for one more tune. So this is the title song from the new CD that Steve and I have done together, and this is actually a true story. Now I don't know how many of you have driven between Reno and Las Vegas, but I do it a lot for my job. And one time I was driving south on 395. And I turned on the radio just outside of Tonopah, and it's the only radio station you can get. And one of my songs came on the radio. I thought that was pretty cool. So on Friday on my way back, I turned on the only radio station I could get in Goldfield, and another one of my songs came on the radio. So I thought to myself, I am 40 miles of famous. So I wrote the song, this is the title tune, and this is called 40 Miles of Famous. I turned on my radio and tuned in the only choice, and pouring through those speakers I recognized my voice on that lonely stretch of highway where the crows and the coyotes call. I'm 40 miles of famous between Goldfield and Tonopah. Now in between those rugged peaks, my songs, they just get trapped. That little drive on 95's my music habitat. Why, there's places in this country that I don't get played at all. But I'm 40 miles of famous between Goldfield and Tonopah. I'm 40 miles of famous just south of Tonopah. To the tourists and the truckers and the snowbirds, I'm a star. They play this side of the dirt, sometimes big Nevada sky. Oh, it ain't exactly Nashville, but I'm famous for 40 miles. Someone told me radio waves go forever out in space. A million years from now, I could be famous in another place. Or I might be a hologram in some galactic bar. Right now I'm 40 miles of famous between Goldfield and Tonopah. I'm 40 miles of famous just south of Tonopah. To the tourists and the truckers and the snowbirds, I'm a star. They play this side of the dirt, sometimes big Nevada sky. Oh, it ain't exactly Nashville, but I'm famous for 40 miles. Oh, you don't know who'll be listening to that little FM station. I could be a 60-year-old overnight sensation. I turned on my radio, tuned in, the only choice. Pouring through those speakers, I recognized my voice. So I indulged my vanity just because I could. I cranked up the volume, shouted, damn, that guy is good. I'm 40 miles of famous, just south of Tonopah. To the tourists and the truckers and the snowbirds, I'm a star. Oh, they play this side of the dirt, sometimes big Nevada sky. Oh, it ain't exactly Nashville, but I'm famous for 40 miles. Oh, it ain't exactly Nashville, but I'm famous for 40 miles. Oh, it ain't exactly Nashville, but I'm famous for 40 miles. Thank you so much. Hands to Mr. Chief. Thank you so much for coming out. So, hey, stay tuned. There's got a lot of good entertainers coming up, so thank you.